This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you in partnership with ministryleague.com. We would love for more people to discover this show, so please rate and review us on iTunes or your podcast provider. Feel free to share on your social media and subscribe at benandtravis.com for the free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living.
One of the things I wanted to ask is, what have you done? I think you might have answered this somewhat, but what have you done differently for other people, who are in this situation? Or what have you noticed more? Because like we said, now you're married, you have a son, he's here at camp with us, took a soccer ball off the face yesterday. Was fine, kept playing, asked him, still knew his name, so we were good. But, all that, now though that you're in that different place,
Mm-hmm.
what now do you notice? What do you do? What are some ways that now maybe you feel like, because we talk a lot, Will and I do some groups and we talk about whatever it is you've been through, now you've qualified to help somebody else through it.
Mm-hmm.
What's something that you do to help other people through it?
I have gotten a lot of phone calls from girls, and that at different points, but that are like, "How are you doing it?" I mean, and that was at times when I was single. It was like, "How are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Just am." I mean, it's like I just got busy. I got busy in doing what God wants me to do, and I don't do enough for the single folks as I should, being as where I've been like it, but I do. I just know. I try to notice. I mean, I guess that's. I am super sensitive of people that are alone. Super sensitive of that at school, at church. It just kills me when someone's sitting by themselves, or so I'm like, we got to go, got to get by them,
But you notice, and some people don't. So
that's where I've got to. That's my job. I mean, you go through something for you to be the one helping, and it's. I don't know that I do anything in particular, except I point that out to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of like, look at them, take a look. And
I think there's something interesting that you started to hit on too, and you touched on it a bit. I'm starting to see more and more young people, girls and guys, that are just going, okay, I haven't been married, so I want to get married. But yet by getting in that relationship, they compromise their convictions and their beliefs.
Yes.
And so they just go ahead and jump and go, okay, this is the closest I'm going to get to the relationship that I want. And they've compromised so much, and it ends up being detrimental to their faith.
Yes.
And so could you speak, to the young people or to the parents on how did you stay committed in that relationship with God and not, I guess in my words, settle, to just get married? Because I feel like at some point, even in our society today, people do get married at 18, 19, 20. Lindsay was engaged at, at the end of 19 to just turn 20 and then married at 20, and we've had girls come to the youth group that go, I just want to have y'all's marriage. Y'all got married young and you're doing all these fun things. And they're going, well, now I'm waiting and I'm seeing the people they're choosing and going, oh, this is not good, because they just want to be with someone. So, could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess I think for those people who are the supporters of them, I would say just keep praying, because like I said, somebody was praying for me. And it wasn't me at that time, but pray for those people hard, because it is a very tough spot. I mean, you know what you want. I mean, you do. I come on, I wanted 4 kids. I would have been right there trying to beat you if I had started so late. But I wanted a house full of boys. And
I got
one.
a couple of teenagers.
You gonna give me
you
some?
can borrow anytime you want.
Yeah, but and then it's like, okay, I'm 37. I hope I have, and I never thought I would have one. So, but it's everyone has those dreams, and it doesn't. it's God's timing, and that's
Yeah.
really hard
Mhm.
to swallow that, especially when that, but
Yeah.
and I like to be in control, and
Yeah.
I like to take care of
Mhm.
and make that happen. But I think families, parents,
Mhm.
pray fervently, um, and then for those friends who can see, go and talk to them. If they are not, if they don't talk to you for the rest of their life, but you kept them from marrying someone wrong, good for you.
Yeah.
So good. And, because I had some people that knew some things, but they didn't come and talk to me. And after the fact, they said, oh, he was blah, blah. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And they said, well, I didn't think that you would listen. Who cares?
Yeah.
Go
Tell
on
me
in.
anyway.
I mean, I'm saying something blatant,
Right.
I'm not saying I don't like him. He's got bad
Nitpicking.
hair.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just if you
Something
see
that could be detrimental to your spiritual health and long-term
Yes.
health.
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
them enough to go and sit down and talk to them about that. Just do it. And if they don't talk, if they don't,
It
you
still may have
tried.
heard it. Yeah.
You did what
And
you had to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
you then are like, okay.
Well, Ben and I have had a similar conversation like that. We had speaking of Wiregrass last session, Ben and I had a good conversation about a relationship I was in at Wiregrass, and it was very similar. Like, hey, man,
Is it
and I'm so thankful now. So
what you talk about wanting to have a house full of boys and all of these, all of us have dreams and aspirations of what we want our life to look like. Even through all of those, things of maybe not having it to look exactly what you wanted it, was it worth the wait?
Yes, it was. And I guess when I look back, and that would be a whole other podcast of, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, God's hand was so all over that. And there's so many things. And I give him all the praise for that. I mean, it's like it's just, his timing is perfect. Waiting for his timing to all happen, is not
Tough, not
great.
easy.
But when you look back and you're like, wow, I mean, whoever thought? I mean, Terry lost his first wife and to cancer, and I was going to church with him all that time. I didn't think anything. I mean, he's married. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
And
Never,
blessed. I mean, his wife's dying of cancer, and then all of a sudden we're dating. I'm like, wow, and God's perfect timing. We're in the same church together all that time, and I never really talked to him.
Yeah.
But that is a whole other story.
He is a fun guy.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. He might be fun to have on the podcast for that episode.
Oh, my, yeah.
Talk about no filters. Here we come.
May have to have a little editing with that one, but anyway.
He would probably love to tell you
I'm
the story.
sure.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
well, the victory in Jesus is I know it's easy to say it on this side of it. It's worth it. And, that he grows us together in some shape, form, or fashion, and he makes sense of it, which is such a hope in this world, because there's so many things that we look at and go, that doesn't make any sense, that's not right. And yet he can even take Satan's worst punch and go, oh, I've got something bigger that you can't even imagine.
How much of the message of the Bible from from the very beginning of the Old Testament to the end of the New Testament, and then in the Christian age now, has been about God's timing.
I got you.
I mean, it's like,
at the right time.
Habakkuk begs, why are you not doing something about this? God says, I'm going to do something about it. You won't believe me if I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Babylonians. And he's like, wait a minute, why are you going to use the Babylonians? They're worse than we are. I was just complaining about the other one. He's like, I'm going to take care of that too. Just hold out. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. That's the context of that passage of, I'm alive, I'm working, just believe in me. And maybe that's the message for all of us in every phase of our life, because I think we all get to, what's next? What's next? Like, just get me to this point. Just get me to this point, we're always looking for that next. It's like, just enjoy what God is doing in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know. And later on, we're going to look back and go, oh, that's what he had going on. Just really wish I'd have thought about that.
Because, I mean, just sitting right here, right now, if I had not been single, I might not have come to Maywood a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I might not be sitting here or have you guys as my friend. I might be listening to some goofballs on a podcast, but I might not know you. And it's like, and I might not be teaching girl. I mean, it's just like so many things were all a part of his plan. And I don't know what else. You know, I don't know what else he's got in mind.
Yep.
And to sit through that journey of not knowing is hard for someone who wants to control it. You know, I want to know, I want to plan, I want to do. I'm going to go back to one other thing for people that, and I guess it's hard to support when you don't know, but just loving that person for who they are. Know them, know their talents, their gifts, not for what they are. You know, we categorize people so much. You're married, you're single, you're widowed, you're this, you're that. Love them for who they are and get to know who they are. We categorize people too much. Teens, elderly. Love people for who they are and what they bring to the table.
I dated people who they love the rock and roll Travis, right, but not the youth minister one. And they love the youth minister Travis, but not the music guy. And then they wanted a piece. And it was just like, it was hard to balance those. Like, and the whole church work thing makes people uncomfortable. That's just the way it is. And so I just remember tapping out. Okay, God, I'm going to stop forcing your hand. I'm just done looking. And I know it doesn't work out for everybody that way, but then it was like, oh, and here's the person.
Oh, it does.
It was like, stop pushing the envelope, you know, because you don't know. You don't know what you want. And I was like, you know, God, you're right. It took me 27 years to realize I don't even know what I want.
Oh, I was done. I'm like, I am through. I have fallen in love with all the kids. I'm like, I am done. And then it's like, here it is. And it's like, yeah, but you thought you were. And
But I got to thinking about that one day. Why is it, what is it that gives us that worth? And I remember, I don't know, it's just a couple of weeks ago, I really thought about my kids are not worthy to me because of what they do, but because they're my kids. Like, it's who they are to me that makes them worthy. It doesn't matter what they do. I'm still going, that's my kid. I'm proud of them. That's my kid and I love them. And I think that's when we understand who I am as I'm God's child. No matter what I do, no matter what my situation in life is, my worth, I can be laying on a park bench out there homeless. My worth is in who I am, and I'm God's child. Like, not in what I do and what stage of life or situation in life I am. It's who I belong to.
Right. God is my shepherd. And it's I think if single folks can remember that, even if God has that perfect timing for you to meet someone, or God doesn't have that timing, your timing is different. There's something that they're on this earth to do, and regardless of married or not married, and it's hard. There's just so much pressure. I do have some things. How can you support a single person? You don't have to fix them up. Don't feel like you have to. Don't feel like I need to.
You hear that, grandmas?
Yeah, well, hey.
Every grandma I went to church with had a
church people
granddaughter.
Are probably the worst when it comes to that one, too.
Yeah.
Just wait till if you had someone say, oh, he needs a wife. No, he doesn't.
And we've
He might
chosen
need
you.
one, but he does not need me.
Yeah,
chosen you.
It's like,
You are the chosen one.
Needs someone to straighten him out.
No.
I volunteer
Mama,
as
you
tribute.
do that, I'm like, no, why do you think that? And I've told some folks, if I ever fix you up, it's because I know both of you, and there is something you have in common, and you need to go with that, because I would never set someone up that if I did not have a good feeling about it, and because and it's And my favorite one was, well, he's single and you're single. Well, being single is not really a character trait, you know? I mean, it's like, I remember sitting there going, okay.
That's awesome.
And I was like, no, a little bit more than that. Pray for their choices of dates. Check on them on the weekends. If they're not at church, say, hey, you know, just a text. Now, you know, their texting was not a big thing either. So I might be more connected now as a single person. But ask them to join you for dinner. And they probably would like a good home-cooked meal because, you know, I didn't cook a lot because
Tough to cook for one, right? Yeah.
I had it forever.
Yeah.
Got real sick of it, you know. And so I ate a lot of weenies and cheese, you know, because you could warm up a weenie in a microwave and I'd get some cheese. I mean, it was fine with me.
Shout out to who would be my future mother-in-law. was actually our secretary at church. And she would do that. Anytime they had leftovers, she'd bring them. And it was like, you are the greatest human being I have ever met. You know, and it was, because you go in my room, I can remember, you walk in my little parsonage, I was open up the refrigerator, there was ketchup. With nothing to put it on. You know, and I'm surviving off ketchup.
Ready.
You know?
You're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Oh, it's a vegetable. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So single people, to talk to them. So there are challenging times. Just push on through. Find a positive, some way. Be positive, and you can. And like I said, you can find the positive there. Thanksgiving, you don't have anywhere to go. Go serve food somewhere, or you know, find something that you get outside of yourself. Find your gifts and dive in. Serve in the church. Think about others. Travel. I traveled so much, and now it's like I don't go anywhere, you know. And but I did marry a guy who loves to travel too. When his wife had cancer, they really couldn't go a lot, and so then I'm like, let's go. And he's like, okay, where are we going? So, travel, go on those mission trips, go and do volunteer. You really can volunteer. You really do have the unencumbered time. And I know that they're like, I don't want to hear her anymore because I am busy. I would have been the one going, I am busy. And don't tell me I'm not when I was single. But you're not committed.
Some of the greatest friends of youth ministers
Are
single people because you can go, hey, can you come on a trip with us? And they do, and we've had a lot of those great ones.
I paid for all of our single adults to go on every trip
because it was great to have them.
Yeah,
there was nothing.
And once they all got married, guess what? None of them come anymore.
It's hard.
Yeah.
We're not talking about anybody in particular, are we? In case he's listening. No.
It's not just you, Blake. There's more people.
But y'all know how hard it is to get away from your family. And singles are valuable too. You know, they're very valuable. It makes them feel more valuable.
Absolutely.
As well. Pray about every relationship you get into. Can't say that enough. Trust God's perfect plan, even if you don't like it. Trust it.
Say that again for the people in the
back. You're not going to sometimes.
Trust God's perfect plan, even if you don't like it.
Ooh,
so
that sounds tough.
It is. It's very hard. And y'all are going to like this. Give your married friends a night out from their children.
I do like that.
I know.
It's a great gift.
It's great.
Hey, you can be the cool aunt, cool uncle.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
and just go hang out with them. And then you guys would be like, woohoo! You know, even if it's 2 hours or an hour, you know, walk away.
10 minutes.
And now that, you know, I'm married and Caleb now is, you know, not as needy as he was. But, you know, there were times I remember there was a family of 4. And I was their babysitter, but I didn't want any money for it. And I had a ball with them. They were so much fun. And we played games and all of that. And they were like, can you come back again? Sure. I mean, but then I like kids. So some people don't like kids.
Well, and somewhat of a side note is even like with your families that don't have kids, yet, or maybe don't plan to have kids. There's some kids that are here that are actually counselors and workers this week that I know personally have had some people who never had children, but they've made huge impacts on some of these kids that are right here at camp. And they were given, that lot in life for whatever reason, but they have impacted probably hundreds of kids. And you guys know who I'm talking about, but impacted hundreds of kids by taking them and fishing with them and doing stuff with them and investing time with them.
Yeah.
So you still have a huge impact regardless of what you think about. Again, what you think about yourself, you're making a huge impact.
Yeah. And I think that's so important for all of us, is even to look at those kids that are at your church. And, there are some kids that are easy to connect with, and they're a lot easier to talk with, but then there are those others that just aren't. They're a little harder. That's where single people invest.
Yeah.
Get in there, just talk to them, get to know them, hang out. If you're not comfortable with that,
you
bring
know what
somebody
loneliness
with you.
feels like. You've experienced that, and so even if it's of their own fruition, I'm just don't want to be around anybody. But you still feel that. But then a lot of times there's something deeper there, and they understand what loneliness is.
They want somebody to
take that
value them
opportunity.
enough to go plop down beside them. Hey, what's up? How's school going?
I remember coming to camp one year when I was single and out of Freed, and I came and I said, I'm not coming to camp this week to find a relationship. I'm going to go and I'm going to impact. And I can remember seeking out the ones who seemed to be on their own, and making sure they had a good time, and we're going to go play ball, and I'm going to be right there with you, probably creeping them out and annoying them no end. But they at least left going, okay, somebody cared enough to put a smile, or at least Temp put a smile on my face. So
you got outside of yourself,
yes, yeah.
and you said,
I didn't come here. It's not about
others.
me this week.
Right.
You got to look for others, and I think that's therapy for all of us. If we're feeling low or feeling devalued, look around and look for other people. And when you find, if you folks find someone out there that you're thinking, oh, this is an important person, but they want you to give up something that is important to you, you got to really look at that and go, because I am very blessed. Sunday night, Terry sent me the sweetest message about how proud he was of me, and and very supportive. And I mean, the man has 2 weeks out of the year.
Does that
I'm
work?
gone.
Does that work?
What do you mean work?
Did it work? Did it make you feel good?
It did. Well, it did.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
Awesome.
thank you, because there is that guilt of being gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, thank you. Because Caleb and I are both gone. He's probably living it up.
He is.
And he's in his recliner. He said, yeah, anyway.
Living the best life.
He's having a great time. I already know that. But, I think it's just God has blessed me with a really great life.
Awesome.
Well, we tend to like to end things on a good note, so that was a good
That was
note.
a great
Good text. But you did have one more story that you wanted to share,
If you
right?
have time.
About Maywood. So.
Well, big shout out to Billy Dixon, way back in the day.
This is going to be good.
I don't know if he's even. I hope he's listening to this, because he'd probably just hee-haw laughing. And I hope we ended up being sports captains together one year. Always fun with Billy. He's just having a great time, having fun everywhere he went. Well, we were blessed to have a team that had several special ones there on our team, and they just didn't always. I don't know. They were different in the education world. They probably had a plan.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how to go in. Anyway, so we were playing softball, and he said, "Okay, let's all go out in the field." And Billy was pitching, and he was standing up there, and we were playing softball. And I looked at him. And I said, "Look where they went," and they were all in left field. They all went straight to left field. So they all went out in left field.
They're all out.
And we just
Nice.
hee-hawed on that. Well, the second part of that year, that was the funniest. There was one guy in particular that was very popular here at camp, big personality, but he was also on our team. And you could not reel him in because he thought every ball was for him, everything. He was supposed to do it all. Well, we were playing sand volleyball, and I like volleyball. I'm not real great at other things, but hey, I like that. And I'm ready to hit the ball, and I'm down, ready, and it's coming right at me, and I'm like this, and he comes out of nowhere and just and would knock it, and it would go into the sewer end, and we'd all have to wait. And then he did that to everyone till finally I said, that is it. And I drew a circle around him, and I said, do not get out of that circle. And he didn't. So then we went on to do a little better. And how we ended up with an award on Friday night for a team, it had to be, I don't know. I just went, we got an award, and we just hee-hawed. That was for surviving. But it was one of my
Made
favorite.
it to the end without throwing one of them in the lake.
That's right.
It was one of my it was so funny all week long. Just
I think that I was down there at the volleyball court when
sure
you drew a circle in the
I
sand.
think y'all were
I'm
probably.
pretty sure we were on your team.
Travis was standing in the circle.
Before we were playing,
I want to say that
I was
somebody has
probably
corrected
one of the
me.
guys out in left field. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
Y'all were probably on.
We may have been
Destin
playing
and
against
Matt's,
you guys. Yeah.
because they were both bent over laughing.
There's been so many years of sports and other things that I can't differentiate between them.
Was it a
But
story?
I know some of the people who you're talking about, and we have plenty of those stories we could tell, but we'll hold back
I
on those.
believe I can fly.
Yes.
man.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man.
No.
Pam, it has been great to
Oh,
have you with us,
thank y'all for having
and
me.
thank you for being willing to open up and share your experience. That's what this show is about. You know, we're always wanting to express and talk about, you know, where God has showed up and showed out.
Mm-hmm.
I know our English teachers out there love that
They
phrase,
love it. Mm-hmm.
but we don't care. So thank you, Pam, for being with us and being the example that you are to us. And thank you once again for not ending my life short at 15 for supposing that you were Matt Gargis' mom, even though only a few years separated you.
And thank you for putting up with our shenanigans through the years, all of them, and for supporting us in it. So,
well, I love you guys. Y'all are like my little brothers. So it's a
God
great
bless
thing.
you.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.